Hello and welcome back to Nights. Actually, I can't remember what nights it was. 337 to 417 or
I think so.
416.
Yeah, 416,
Yeah,
417.
of the 1001 Nights, the Arabian Nights. I'm joined again, thankfully, by James at Quaint and Curious Volumes. Otherwise, these videos would be just me staring at a screen, I think.
And then there's this guy. I think he's from Cairo, and brings a whole bunch of plates to Basra. I think that's what happened.
Which is what
Trust
this
me, it's
one,
crazy.
which is what this one might be a little bit like anyway,
Yeah.
because I mean, what we had this month, I think, was a little bit of a slog.
hmm
The tales are very fragmented.
hmm
They're very
Yes.
short. I I counted there were either 63 or 64 stories, and some of them are almost one-liners.
Almost. Yeah. We have our first examples of like a night that like has the ending of a story, a complete story, and then the beginning of another story. So there's like three stories in one night.
Yeah, I think Scheherazade's on sort of pretty thin ice at this point. Uh, um, I don't know if the king had the same reaction to these stories, but he must have really been wondering at some points whether it was
Right.
whether he wanted to hear some of these.
We're not getting his reaction to any of these, or her
No.
sister's interjections, which we had for a while.
So again, I think we've had like another change, another set. It's almost another set of people have come in,
Yeah.
and it's almost as like this is really sort of drinking stories.
Yeah.
There's a bit of one-upmanship going on
hmm Oh
in,
yes.
in some of these, but
Yes.
and that does sort of tend to take things a little bit to the extreme, which some of these
Mm.
stories do. Anyway,
Yeah.
we got our first comment, Sean. Uh, there he is.
Yes. Well observed.
Hello, Sean.
Hi, Sean.
I'm not checking YouTube at the moment, so he could be possibly the only person watching.
Yeah.
um, so we won't be able to talk about all of these stories tonight, I don't think, but there's definite things to pick up on some of them.
Yes.
Um, in the first one, I've decided that in an effort to make the poems rhyme,
hmm
um, Richard Francis Burton can sometimes torture the English language.
Well, the lions do not even attempt to make the poems rhyme, so we don't have that problem.
I think that's a wise choice.
Yeah.
I think you better be able to capture the poetry of the original language by not trying to force it into not only sort of English meter,
hmm
but Burton tries to put it into a sort of pseudo historical voice.
hmm
There are there is a lot of language that is not the Victorian manner of speaking.
Right. It's
It is,
it's archaized.
yeah, yeah, and okay.
So I do another. You probably don't know this, Gavin, but I do another live stream called Cinephile Sundays with
Yes.
Randy Ray, and Libro Paradiso is one of our regular commenters, and he's been wanting us to cover a certain film about cheerleaders. So,
Right. Well, the first story here is Harun al Rashid and the cheerleaders of
yeah,
Cairo.
right. Yeah.
Well, actually, the first story we got is Harun al Rashid and the damsel
Mhm.
Abu Nawas.
Yeah.
And I thought at this
Mhm.
stage, oh, this is just like an interstitial piece And the only notes I've got here, apart from about the poetry, was that there's not a lot to this tale.
No.
And then I realised I could have said this about quite a few of the ones that are upcoming.
Right.
But this one was a bit of fluff.
Well, yeah, but also, so it's interesting that Burton calls Abu Nawas a damsel, because the unusual thing about Abu Nawas is he's a poet, and he's a named poet, and he's a historical figure.
Yeah.
But also we find out from this story and from others that he's a homosexual and a libertine. Like he likes to drink, and he likes to hang out with, as they say, beardless boys.
Yeah.
So in this one, he's first discovered being held kind of captive by someone, because he owes money it seems like he owes money to a pimp for time that he spent with a beardless boy, and then he tells these poems to Harun al-Rashid, and one of them at the end is a thing that just happened to Harun al-Rashid, and the Caliph, the commander of the faithful, threatens to behead him because he's always doing that. And but then he's like, you know what? You're pretty clever. Here's, guess what? A robe and some money.
Yeah, it's always a myriad of dirhams is
right.
The usual reward. And I mean, he turns up again quite a few times in these stories, and Abu Nawas lives an absolute charmed life, because the amount of times that Harun al-Rashid says, well, right, okay, I've had it, off with your head, and he just he has a pithy comeback and says, oh, I can't quit you.
That's right.
Here's a myriad of dirhams.
Yes.
And other people aren't always so lucky.
No, certainly not.
In these stories, but he seems to be able to get away with it. If you're good with your poetry, you can get away with quite a bit in Baghdad in the 9th century by the looks of things.
Seems like it, yeah.
But the next one I quite liked. The man who stole the dish of gold, wherein the dog ate. Yeah.
This is. Go ahead, but I really enjoyed this one as well. So you go ahead.
I mean, the notes I've got here. So this is my A memoir. I've just put good doggy, because the dog really does seem to be. We have this poor person who literally he's snuck into this courtyard, and he's hungry, and this is a very opulent household. The owners have given all of the dogs basically quite a feast.
Gold. Yes, in golden bowls.
In gold bowls.
Yeah,
and he's trying to take a bit of food, and he's saying he's talking to the dog, and the dog just appears to understand him, and just like no. Yeah. Pushes the food towards him, and then when the food is finished, just pushes the bowl. Take the bowl.
Right. Yeah.
So he goes away with the bowl, sells it,
yes,
and gets himself back on track.
Yep.
And then goes back to that house, basically to give the value of the bowl back, saying, well, look, I'm sorry this happened.
Yeah.
And the owner is just like, no, well, my dog obviously knew a good thing when he saw it.
So the owner, in the meantime, has suffered reversals of fortune and is no longer. So apparently some time has passed since our protagonist, was in dire straits and then made a bunch of money, and he's gone back. And he finds the house is in ruins, and there are crows just like sitting around, and he's just there. And our protagonist asks him what happened, and he says he's not specific at all. He says, everything that goes up comes down, and I was rich and now I'm not. And the guy says, well, I wanted to give you this money for this bowl from your dog. And the guy says, it wouldn't be logical for me to take back a bowl that was gifted to you by a dog. So yeah, this is what God wants for me. See you later. And that's the end of it. That is the end of that story.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of a lesson we can take for that. I mean, can you think of anyone who surrounds himself with gold
Right.
fixtures and fittings who has his house demolished?
Yeah.
I can't.
The lesson, I mean, in Lions there was a one-line moral actually, which is God knows best. So it's like, don't take the money back, this is like one of the rare times where someone's like, hey, let me give you a bunch of money, and someone's like, eh.
Yeah. Normally there's a fair amount of
Yes.
I'm not going to say avarice, but sort of pragmatism
Right.
at least.
Yeah. Yeah. Someone gives you 1,000 dirhams and a ceremonial robe, you're taking it. That's just the way of the 1,001 Nights. This is the only time that I can remember of someone being like, nah, I'm good, and I'm not supposed to have it. It's,
but leaving himself in penury by doing so.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Got a couple of Elaine. Hello, Elaine.
Hello, Elaine.
And hello, Hannah.
Hello, Hannah.
So yeah, this was I'm not quite sure what the moral was, but it's obviously telling people, to a gift's a gift. No, that was charity.
Yeah.
But at the same time, why that charity couldn't then be extended back the other way?
It doesn't. Yeah.
But I mean, possibly the moral of the story is, don't bring yourself to ruin by forking everything out on golden dog bowls and opulent meals for the dogs, and some dry mix will do just the same. But there you go.
Yeah.
Then we have a bunch of stories.
Yeah.
About thieves and police.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to correct me. I'm not sure. Is this the first time we are sort of properly in Egypt in these stories?
I'm pretty sure we've been in Egypt many times. And so, location is really sort of irrelevant, even though they will say that they're in Egypt or China or India. Everyone is always a Muslim and and has an Arabic name. So
yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure we have been in Egypt before. So
it just seemed to be quite a few stories in a row where this is the case. And I think possibly, and I've sort of got this from how they're treating the characters in these forthcoming stories, and also a couple of the stories we'll get to shortly. What people in Baghdad, in the center of learning, thought about the people in Cairo.
Okay, all right.
I think there's a little bit of looking down your nose at the dumb neighbors here.
Could be. Could very well be. Yeah.
But we have. So the stories I've got here: the Sharper of Alexandria and the Chief of Police, the story of the old Chief of Police of Cairo.
Okay.
The story of the Chief of the Bulak Police, the story of the Chief of Police of Old Cairo again.
Yeah.
The story of the thief, and I can't even read my own writing there. Straff. The Chief of Kus Police and the Sharper. And well, let's just take that bunch there. These are very repetitive stories. They seem to be. They're almost like scam warnings.
Sort of, yeah, or like trickster stories, about how people get tricked out of their money and or their donkey or a purse full of gold.
And the moral seems to be that actually crime does pay, because there's no ultimate justice.
It pretty much always does. That's interesting. Yeah. These are mostly stories about people getting away with robbing someone. Yeah.
So I don't know if the imputation here is just these officials are stupid.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Because we get a little bit about later when we're talking about sort of certain classes, certain professions of people.
Yeah.
The school teachers don't come out very well out of these
No.
stories.
Yeah.
And the chiefs of police absolutely don't. They're flatfoot. They are.
Yeah, and Lions chief of police. That's not a term that is used in Lions. It's we have qadis, who I think are interpreted as judges, and walis, and are various like sort of officials who would serve as the equivalent of police. So
Yeah. So yeah, possibly they're not even professional, just
right.
inherited titles or gifted positions. Sort of
Right.
giving a position of political power to your mate, and almost a little bit like the old sort of idea that the with big families in old England, it's like, well, the lesser brothers and maybe the not so bright brothers would be the ones to go into the priesthood, whereas
Yeah.
whereas the firstborn son is obviously there to inherit stuff, and then kids in the middle are sort of given sort of various bits of cash to become lawyers or judges, whatever it is, and then it's like, oh, okay, yep, he's the reverend.
And the real dim bulbs have to go to India. Yeah.
But yeah, this is almost like a sketch show.
Yeah.
It's like you say, it's trickster stories.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are very quick cases. I think the story of the chief of police of Old Cairo is like literally, oh, this happened, they were a bit silly, and that was the story. And we also tell the story of this, and it just moves straight on to the next one. And even within like these half dozen tales, it's like, well, that's the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. So in here, there's three of those that you mentioned are combined in one tale that is like maybe it was a caliph who had three of his subsidiaries and said, tell me the most interesting thing happened, and each of them told their story, which all happened to involve them getting ripped off.
So maybe it's something about telling a story against yourself.
Yeah.
You're possibly being humble or being almost honest.
Right.
Some of these people are too honest because
yeah,
no one would have fallen for some of these things.
Is this where we had the story about the thief who replaces a donkey with himself?
I think that comes later. That's a doozy. I quite like that one.
I do too.
No, this is all. We know that you've stolen this. Well, I can't have stolen this because of some spurious reason. Look, I'll do it again and I'll show you. It's like,
yes.
You can imagine if they had watches back then. The chief of police is there going, "I'll give him another 10 minutes. I'm sure he'll be back."
Yeah.
Then there's a story that I don't know. I can't remember that much about. Ibrahim bin al-Madar. I'll start again. Ibrahim bin al-Mahdi and the merchant's sister. And the only thing I've written is the moral here is be good at the loot, because this is so. Ibrahim bin al-Mahdi is he seems certainly a suave one and possibly a bit of a con man, but he gets himself out of a scrape by basically, can I borrow your musical instrument? And coming out with something which makes everybody forgive him and moreover reward him.
Yeah.
And I don't really have anything else other than that to say about it.
I mean, yeah, I think that is the story.
I just wonder what it is. This must have had perhaps not a deeper meaning, but certainly a different one.
Right.
Well, was this some kind of inside joke between the guys who are putting these tales together?
Mm.
Is this some sort of, is this almost sort of a college dormitory japes? I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
Well.
I suppose if he would have golden dog bowls
Yeah, certainly.
if dogs would suffer his presence, I suppose.
Hmm.
I don't think they do. I think animals
No.
probably attack him on sight.
Yes. Yeah. Um, a story is told that a certain king warned his subjects that if any of them gave any alms, their hands would be cut off.
Yes, the woman whose hands were cut off for giving alms to the poor. That's the brief title Burton's given this. Who would preach that?
Well, and it's directly contradictory to one of the directives of Islam.
Yeah,
That is what there's a few things you have to do, and that is one of them. You have to give alms to the poor. So,
I mean, I suppose in a way this story goes on to show that there is a
yes.
greater power than the secular one, which is telling people not to
Hmm.
give charity.
Yes.
So this ruler has his own version of the prosperity gospel,
Yeah.
and makes this rule. And this woman, and everyone seems to try abide by this rule, but this woman
Yeah.
takes pity on this guy who is starving,
Yes.
and for her pains has her hands cut off.
Hmm.
The ruler then goes to wants to marry her,
Yes.
and so I'm going to struggle to remember this now.
Hmm.
I think he does marry her,
Yes.
or certainly goes to bed with her. She gives birth to a child, and
Yeah.
all of the ruler's other wives conspire against her,
Right.
and he chucks both her and the child and casts them out and exiles them.
Yes. That's right.
Um, but there's a little bit of magic that's come into the tales for the first time this evening,
Hmm.
because she then she takes the child away and drops the child into a river.
Not intentionally.
Well, no, but you've got no hands.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
And she can't, she starts weeping. She can't rescue the child.
Right.
But the child is rescued
By two men who come by.
two men who turn
Yes.
out to be the transformed subjects of her charity. I think
It is. We are the 2 loaves that you gave to the beggar. So she gave 2 loaves to the beggar,
yeah.
which is what caused her to have her hands cut off. The gift that caused you to lose your hands. So praise to Almighty God, who has restored them to you and given you back your son. So she also grows her hands back, and yeah.
Which or Allah makes her hands grow back is
Right.
the invitation. So we do, whether you want to call it magic or a miracle, you do have this agency come back in to show that there is this higher power. Yet still, the evil deeds in this go unpunished.
Yeah,
the ruler is not brought to book for
right.
giving this stupid rule out in the first place.
Right.
The other wives continue to live their life of luxury at the palace, having successfully ostracized and got this woman exiled.
Yeah, with her child. So
there's ambivalence here at best, or indifference to justice. I think not always to plight, although that does happen, but the stories seem a little bit incomplete because of this.
Yeah, I mean,
Also,
if you're
because they
looking
went
for consistent moral teachings in the 1001 Nights, you will not find.
no,
No.
which is fun sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it would be if it was purely sticking to religious rules. This would be as dumb as dishwater.
It sure would.
And this does at least keep things interesting. You do end up thinking a little bit about it, and sort of put together why this hasn't happened.
Yeah,
maybe overthinking it a little bit, but at least thinking about it rather than being told what to think about it.
Yeah.
Oh, Elaine, don't worry about him. Forget about him for an hour.
Exactly.
He'll still be there when you log back on, unfortunately. Then we have now this story. I don't know what title it's got in yours. It's called The Devout Israelite.
I think it actually has a very the pious Israelite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which, compared to some of the other depictions of Israelites in the previous stories, this is it's a nice depiction for a change.
Yeah.
I mean, in a way, it's saying, "Oh, look, even these Jews can be good Muslims sometimes," which is possibly, not the yardstick he might want, but at least it is treating them on a level.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, it's obviously opposite of the story about the man with the gold dog bowl, because once the poor Israelite becomes rich, he shares his money with the poor beggar who comes up to him, and that's and despite that, he and his household, they enjoyed the most luxurious of lives until they died. So there you go.
Yeah. This is a sort of a turn of phrase which is used quite a lot. I mean, it's a slightly different translation in the Burton, but this is the equivalent of "they lived happily ever after,"
right?
Which is that they lived happily until death did them part.
Until they were visited by the destroyer of all delights and the parter of companions. Yes.
Yeah. I don't think that's how you hear it reported in the news, but yeah.
Yeah, right.
Then I've put grouped a number of the stories together again because they seemed there's morals here.
Yeah.
But everything also seems to happen. There's agency through dreams. So possibly a little bit of magic creeping back in as well.
Yeah.
So I've got Abu Hassan al-Zadai and the Khorasan, the poor man and his friend in need, the poor man who became rich again through a dream.
Yeah.
And this trips off the tongue. Khalif al-Mutawakkil and the concubine Maheba.
Yeah.
So he that was a real caliph. So he is a real historical person.
Sure.
He's one of the Abbasid caliphs, I think the 850s.
Okay.
I couldn't find any mention of the concubine because they weren't seen as important.
Right.
But yeah, these stories all seem to have this sort of something is revealed in a dream. Go and dig. Don't go and dig this in this part of your garden, or go to this particular town.
Right. Yeah.
One of them is. I think this is one of them. Is quite a bit silly. I might be talking about the wrong tale here, but there's one where a poor man in one part of the world, I think he's in Arabia, dreams that there is riches in a particular part of Cairo, goes to Cairo, gets robbed, ends up destitute.
Yes.
he turns up late and he goes to sleep in a mosque, and then the person who is like the custodian of the mosque chucks him out and says, you're causing a disturbance. He says, "Oh no, I'm just here because I had a dream that I was get here and there'll be some buried treasure." He said, "Oh yeah, we've all had those dreams. I had a dream that there was a big load of treasure in back in Baghdad."
Right.
So the guy goes back, digs in the place where this other guy had the dream, and lo and behold, there is
there is a treasure.
There is the treasure.
Yeah.
So
yeah, a bunch of these, they're kind of a blank to me, even looking at them again.
Because they are a bit samey.
Yeah.
They are a bit of a slog, and because I was reading this on the e-reader, I kept coming out of the book and going in because I'm taking sort of notes on the Kindle as well. So I was coming out, opening the notebook, writing something down, going back to the story, and it's just like, it seems to be every 5 minutes I was having to go back. Oh, it's another new story.
Yeah. And unfortunately, after this series of stories are two stories that are very similar in certain disgusting details.
Yeah. Okay. So there is a note.
Oh, the phone's ringing, Gavin. You're gonna have to cover these next two.
Yeah, I'll take these two. You give me the easy bit. Yeah.
Just good.
You're like a foreskin. You disappear when it gets hard.
God.
So these next two stories involve bestiality.
Yeah.
Okay. And there is a note in the Burton translation, which is why I think it basically it was saying or repeating a prejudice that's basically said, yeah, it's very frowned upon in Arabia, but over in Egypt.
In Egypt, because they both happen in Cairo, so maybe that's.
So this is this is why I think some of the other stories about the dim Cairo, wali's or policemen or whatever we're calling them.
Okay, well, that's very interesting.
I think there's a little bit of interregional rivalry going on, and these guys are writing the stories. So this is what we're left with. And we don't know what the people in Cairo are saying about the people in Baghdad, for example.
Right. Yeah.
So, Warden the Butcher.
Yeah.
And his adventure with the lady and the bear.
Yeah. This is Butcher.
This lady goes to the butcher's every day.
Sure does.
She spends a lot of money on a huge load of meat.
Yep.
And the butcher thinks, firstly, he thinks, fantastic, repeat customer. I'm always getting, a fair bit of money off her every day. But after a while, she can't eat this much meat.
I think it's an entire lamb every day.
Yeah. Yes. So he follows her, and she goes back to her house where she cuts off part of the lamb and has her meal, and the rest of the lamb is devoured by a bear, who then turns his attentions on the lady.
10 times in a row.
Yeah. One lamb's worth. Who knows? And I think he just kills the bear.
Yeah.
Quite easily as well.
Well, the bear has passed out after a round of such exertions. Yes.
I think there's also wine involved.
Yeah, there's also wine. She drinks some wine and pours a whole bowl full of wine for the bear as well. Yeah. So. Now the lady wakes up, and she says, "What's that?"
She's not best pleased to begin with.
No, and she says, "Well, you've killed my bear. You may as well kill me because there's no reason for me to live without my bear." And he says, he makes her an offer that most people would not, which is, I don't have to do that. You could just marry me. I'm as good as a bear. You figure
Which is
he
a
could
bit
just
boastful.
marry. Yeah, you could figure he could marry a normal lady who's not into this. But anyway, she refuses and says, "No, you have to kill me." And so he does. And you would think that would be the end of this demented story. But but there's also, because it's the Arabian Nights, there's a load of treasure lying around in this bear sex den, and he loads it up in a basket, and he's walking down the street when he is interrupted by, maybe it's the caliph,
I
or
think the Caliph, yeah.
yeah, and they're like, "Hey, what are you doing with all that money? You better stop and talk to us. What is your name? And did you just kill a bear that was?" And so they seem to know about this.
Yeah.
And it turns out that there is like some trap door somewhere that has this guy's name on it. And they're like, "Let's go and see this trap door because you're the only person who can open it." Wardon the Butcher. And he opens this trap door and it's full of treasure, which Wardon the Butcher doesn't get to keep.
No, that's the thing that got me. It's just like, okay, well, they're going to share this? No, Caliph
Right.
takes it all.
Yeah, but the butcher gets to keep the stuff he looted from the bear sex den, and he says, yeah, there was this prophecy that someone with your name was going to kill a bear and his girlfriend, and then would be able to open this door. I mean, yeah. So that's the story. I don't know what the moral is, but there you go.
No, I mean,
Right.
I was thinking, well, do you know what this is? A little bit of an echo of Alibaba here, a special cave that can only be opened with, by a certain name or words.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought, okay, that story's just an aberration.
Right. Let's move on to more normal
Let's move
stuff.
on to the next one. The King's Daughter and the Ape. I went, oh God. So the King's Daughter, is well, she's a bit of a nymphomaniac.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And basically has such an appetite that there is no man who can keep up.
Right.
So someone says to her, I think.
Yes.
Or
Someone
she
does
finds
say
out,
yes.
oh, well, have you thought about a baboon? To which any right-minded person would say, no, I've not been thinking about it. But here we are in the land of dreams. So she explores the baboon option and finds that baboons do have more stamina.
Yes.
About
the same amount as the bear, oddly enough. But yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Well, this is it. But this is the repetition coming in again, and
right.
I was very worried.
Yeah.
Well, okay, we had a whole half dozen of these stories about thieves. Are we going to go through the whole bloody Baghdad Zoo?
Right.
But yeah. So it's a fairly similar story. He kills the baboon, makes an offer to the woman, who doesn't say kill me, as far as I recall. I can't quite remember what happens.
I think she does, but he offers to marry her, and she says, well, and she takes him up on the offer.
No, oh God, I'll just remember what happens. It gets worse. So she does. She takes him up on the offer.
Yeah. And they get married. He promises he can provide the same service as the ape.
And he can't.
And he can't.
So, as you do, you go see a doctor.
Yeah.
And the doctor says, well, look, it's not you, it's her. Which, okay, fine. I'm on board with that. But then it's like, right, what you need to do is sort of take this sort of potion, put it in a cauldron, put the cauldron over fire, and put her over the cauldron.
Mm-hmm.
Which, which she does, and she brings forth, shall we say, two worms.
Yes, a black one and a yellow one.
A black one because she had been with one of the slaves in the palace, and a yellow one for the baboon. And these have been put there by those two, so they had infected her.
Yep.
And after this treatment, her libido returns to pre-worm levels.
Yep.
And they all lived happily ever after.
Right. Yes.
It's
also with the doctor who was like, it was like sort of a witchy medicine woman, who the Sultan's daughter adopts as her mother, and she becomes part of the household.
Yeah.
So all three of them, they live happily ever after, so to speak. And she had no appetite after that. Oh God.
I mean, the winter nights must have just flown by.
Yeah. So, Elaine says this sounds like The Alchemist by Coelho. Yeah, I think all this does happen in The Alchemist.
Okay, I've not read that.
Yeah.
But I was really, really worried.
Yes.
When I saw that the title of the next story was The Ebony Horse.
Yeah.
But fortunately,
yes,
it is nothing to do with bestiality.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know if there's a specific rule on YouTube, and there's certain things you can't talk about on channels. Well, I think we've probably got, that line is way behind us, but we are back. We are back to normal
stuff.
Relatively normal stuff.
Just the usual anti-Persian bias, but
yeah. But we're also returning to a bit of a longer story.
Yeah.
And magic properly back in the situation. So I'll tell you what, a really popular name is Moon of Moons.
Okay.
We've had more than one Moon of Moons in here so far. So Kamar al-Akmar is Moon of Moons. And he's a great guy, you know, and he's fallen in love with this woman, Shams al-Nahar, I think. Yeah. But they are in very disparate places. They're both royalty, which is always handy. But we start the story with Kamar al-Akmar and his father. And his father is the Caliph. And he has some wise people who have come to give him gifts. I can't remember what the other two gifts were, but they seem to be sort of pretty pointless.
There is a peacock that at the end of every hour, night or day, it claps its wings and shrieks.
Yeah.
That usually, and there's a trumpet
it's supposed to be some sort of like clockwork. It's supposed to be
I guess it's yeah. And there's a trumpet that will alert you to an enemy approaching the city gates, so that the enemy can be recognized and arrested. All right.
So metal detector, or
something like that. Yeah.
But the third guy comes up with something. An ebony horse.
Yes.
But not just any ebony horse. This is a flying ebony horse. So he demonstrates this flying horse. And the Caliph is very pleased with it. And is going to make this wise man a very rich wise man. And Kamar al-Akmar comes in, says, "Oh, what's this? Oh, it's a flying horse.
Yeah.
Here's a control to make it fly." So the prince jumps on, fiddles about with the controls, and disappears into the air.
Yep.
And then they realise they didn't tell him how to bring it back down again.
Right.
So the Caliph, not best pleased, and instead of rewarding the wise man, actually imprisons him instead.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not entirely his fault.
No, not really.
But yeah, I suppose fault and punishment don't always go together in these stories.
No,
but this actually could be the thing that sends this wise man over the edge, because you know, he goes from being, you know, mad scientist to mad mustache twirling scheming scientist.
evil villain. Yeah,
But you know, imprisoning someone might do that.
Yeah.
But Kamal Al Akmar isn't. He's not too dim. He figures out how to have the horse descend again, which is just as well, because he's about to fly into the sun.
Yes.
So this it wasn't the astronomical section of the University of Baghdad that was coming out with this particular story, I'm guessing.
Right. Yeah, no.
But he takes the horse about, and he ends up in this other land where Shams al Nahar is about to be wedded to someone she doesn't want to be wedded to.
Mm-hmm.
This guy turns up on his horse.
Yep.
I don't think they see him land. There's just all of a sudden there's this ebony horse on the roof of the palace.
He lands on the roof of the palace, yeah, and then he walks in, and they're like, "Oh, hey, who are you?"
But he had between this time he had gone back to his own place, and the Caliph had released the scientist. The scientist tracks them down, and basically steals the horse back, along with Shams al Nahar, who he's taken a fancy to. I might be skipping a bit there.
So, well, the prince. Okay, so in Lions, it's the prince and the princess. They're not given proper names. They go back on the flying horse to meet the king, and they land in a garden some distance from the city with the flying horse, and he leaves her there with the horse and says, "I'm going to go and get, a carriage, and we'll ride back into the night. Let everyone know we're here, and then we're going to." And then the villain, the sorcerer, the Persian, he goes in and he finds her there and says, "Oh yeah, I've been sent by the prince to bring you back. Get on the back of the horse, let's go." And they take off. And then what happens? I'm not sure. I forgot.
Basically, he tricks the scientist. So Kamal Al Akmar outwits everybody.
Yes.
They end up back at his father's place. They're going to get married. The Caliph sends a notification to the king.
Mm-hmm.
The king comes back and says, "Oh, that's wonderful." They're exchanging gifts, and and until the Destroyer of Worlds decides that they're going to be parted, they're they're sort of happy ever after ish.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
I think the evil sorcerer is I think he's imprisoned again. I'm not sure.
Probably, and then the horse is destroyed.
Yeah, because you don't want this wondrous technology. I mean, this I think this is almost the closest we got to the flying carpet.
Yeah. Well, there was
there was
a flying bed.
Yes.
Yeah. There's genies. There was a flying bed in one of the longer star-crossed lover stories. I think last month or the month before. But yeah, this is the flying carpets are not nearly as common as we've been led to believe by popular
No,
culture. Yeah.
but
And
the
this
flying
story,
horse sort of made up for it.
yeah, this story about the horse, it does have a lot of twists and turns. You know, the short version of it is basically as we've said, but there are a lot of different sort of ins and outs and what have you to it. But essentially, it's that, and they live happily ever after, etc.
And there are disguises as well. Always good to
Yeah,
see some disguises in these stories.
right.
No cross dressing, but disguises nonetheless.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And then we've got another one. Uns
Mhm.
al Wajud and the Wazir's daughter al Wad fil al Akram and Rose in Hood.
Yes.
Uh, so again, another pithy,
Yeah.
quick title, but lots of poetry.
Yes.
Quite fairy tale like in some
Mhm.
places.
Yeah.
But there's no sort of proper magic here.
No, but is there? Because the true magic, Gavin, in these stories is the poetry itself.
Okay.
because 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 here this is just star cross lovers again, but the poetry has a function because every time one of them recites a poem to someone who they come across, that person's like, this reminds me of this heartbreak that I experienced or this lost love that I had, and they help them out. This happens like 4 or 5 times.
So you're saying it could be like incantations or enchantments?
Perhaps, yeah, maybe. I don't think it's actually magical, but it is unusual in that usually most of the time someone recites a poem and everybody else sort of says, "Yeah, anyway." So, or
Yeah, it is. It's a case
yeah,
that people either completely ignore the fact that someone's just spouted a bunch of poetry,
hmm,
or
yeah,
they have a completely overblown reaction to it.
right. They faint away with with longing. Yeah, yeah. So, but here they're like, I can relate to that. Let me give you a hand. A few different times. So
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get a lot from this one. I'll be
no,
honest.
no, I did not either.
And then I think possibly also coming off the back of the Ebony Horse story
Mm,
as well, it's like, oh,
yeah.
we're back to the really short stories again. You're
Hmm.
just about to sort of get invested into a story, and it's like, oh, okay, that was that then.
Yeah.
You didn't have a lot to tell us.
Yeah.
And then we get um, some more anecdotal stories.
Hmm.
So as Abu Nawas comes back, so Abu Nawas with the three boys and the Caliph Harun al Rashid. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, you're thinking, okay, well, we know what Abu Nawas is like.
Yeah. Well,
Clearly,
yeah. I
not
know.
not with the three boys
Yeah.
and the Caliph Harun al Rashid in
Hmm.
the drawing room with a candlestick.
Yeah.
And it's just again anecdotal, and it's very telling about Abu Nawas's behavior. And I think
Hmm.
they probably had it in for him when they were putting these stories together.
Yeah.
But again, he smooth talks his way out of it.
He does. Yeah, he does. He does.
You know, maybe I was telling a lie before when I say people have either got sort of two reactions to poetry. There's a third reaction is that
Hmm.
you completely fall for it because you're an idiot like Harry and Harry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's he's about to be decapitated again,
Hmm.
and talks his way out of it. Then I've got Abdallah bin Mamar with the man of Basra and his slave girl. Well, I've put no notes at all, so this one left me completely nonplussed.
Uh-huh.
There's the lovers of Banu Ozra. Now this one, these people are
Hmm.
loved to the extreme.
Yeah.
This puts romanticy to shame. It's just like these people are in love so much that, you know, if this is denied them, they wither away and die quite quickly.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, I'm not sure. I think the moral there is don't do that.
Yeah. No, exactly. What was that? Yeah, there's a few of these in a row. Uh, that just end in people getting married or dying of
Yeah.
despair. Yeah.
There's the Wazir of Al Yaman and his young brother.
Okay.
Where there's a tutor of the young brother who sort of like steals him away in the night.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, oh my god, you know, here we go again. But no,
Mm-hmm.
he's just like, you know, they're off for a midnight feast.
Yeah.
And the brother, who's the ruler, is about to sort of, you know, absolutely lose his rag. And then it's like, oh, well, they're actually saying nice things about me and lets them be. And that's
Yeah. That's right.
um, there's the loves of the boy and girl at school.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
again, we've got lovers, and they actually end up getting married at the school
That's right. Yeah.
because, you know, that happens.
Yes. Well, they were writing poetry to each other at school. You know.
And in the next one, so I'm zipping through these a bit because I realise
Mhm.
we're coming up to an hour and we're only 25 of the 63 stories in.
Oh boy.
Al Mutamis and his wife Umayya.
Yeah.
There's no lesson here, but
No.
brush up on your poetry because they just
Yes.
exchange poetry.
Yeah.
There's the Caliph Harun al-Rashid and Queen Zubaydah in the bath.
Yes. Yeah.
So
That's a
he's
good
got
one.
Queen Zubaydah loves her bath,
Mm-hmm.
so he makes a really big bath
Yes.
with like forest in it.
Yes.
And I couldn't figure it was Lady Zubaydah and then Queen
Mm-hmm.
Zubaydah. I think it's the mother.
Mm-hmm.
Am I wrong there?
I don't think so. I think it's the same. So it's Harun al-Rashid's wife Zubaida, and she takes a bath, and the Caliph peeps on her because he never gets to see naked ladies otherwise. And um,
Which is not what you take from all of the other stories where it says he's got a harem of
yeah,
like 1,000 women.
right. So he watches her, and then he says he did not know how to go on after that. So he sent for obviously Abu Nawas, who comes along and tells a poem about a guy who sees a naked lady and finds it exciting. Um, and the Caliph is pleased with it and gives Abu Nawas a generous present. And that's
Yeah,
the end of that one.
yeah,
That's one of the real Shaggy Dog ones.
yeah. I've got Peeping Tom emergency
Yeah,
poetry. That was my note.
emergency
Because
poetry.
well,
Yeah,
he literally is just like, oh, I must have a poem about this. I think he has like Harun al-Rashid has had half a fault, and he's
yeah,
got like a line in his head,
yeah,
and it's like, quick, I've got a great idea, you know. So you can imagine he's written it down on a napkin. It says, right, extemporize.
yeah,
And then we have something very almost similar.
yeah.
So Harun Rashid and the three poets.
Mhm.
So again, he gives them a line, and each of the three poets. I think Harun al Rashid has been turned down by
Mhm.
a woman. That's what it
Yeah,
is. So he, a serving girl in the palace, he finds her and she's a bit drunk, and he goes to make a move, and she says, "Well, no, not now.
mhm.
Come back to me tomorrow." And then the
Yeah.
next day, she thought better of it, and
Right. And
in
she
what
says,
she said something, and he likes that line,
the
and
day erases what was said at night.
yeah. So
Meaning, I said what I said, but no.
I was drunk.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So he gets three poets and says,
Yes.
"Right, here's the line
Yeah.
again." Um, and the three poets, the last of whom is Abu Nawas, who
Yes.
basically must have cottoned on what had
Yes.
happened and his
Yes.
poem basically repeats back to him, and then so Harun al-Rashid goes, why I ought to, I'm gonna decapitate you again,
right,
and because you've obviously been prying on my private life,
right,
this is a bit too close to the bone, and Abu Nawas talks his way out of it yet again and goes away with a reward. It's
money.
he does quite well out of this, Abu Nawas.
Yes,
I mean, it's a bit of a precarious existence, because you got to think one day
there is
going to be no reward. There's just going to be the chopping block.
Right.
But then these stories just sort of like they almost start speeding up at this point. We have Musa bin al-Zubayr and his wife, Aisha.
Yeah.
I don't have a clue what was going on here.
I'm not sure what that is.
There was Abu al-Aswad and his slave girl, which basically was just like a dirty poem.
Yeah. Yes.
And then there's Harun al-Rashid and the two slave girls, which is just a dirty joke.
It is. And it's the same dirty joke that was told in the previous one.
Yep. So they thought, well, we've got to do something different. So the next story is Harun al-Rashid and the three slave girls.
Yes. Yeah.
Which sort of does the same thing again, but adds another line on it. So again, we have this one-upmanship.
Yes, and it's all an erection joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we're in Canterbury Tales, because there's a miller and a donkey.
The miller and his wife.
Yes.
And the moral here is, if you've got a secret, don't tell your wife. Which seems
exactly. Yes. Yeah. But really, I mean, that's not a terrible moral to it, but that is what it explicitly says is the lesson.
Yeah. Yeah, this isn't. Yeah, this isn't the lesson I inferred from it. This is just like.
This is what they say is the lesson.
Can't trust women.
No.
So. Yeah, you got to think that someone had probably just broken up with his girlfriend when he wrote this story. Then we got the one I think you mentioned earlier, the simpleton and the sharper.
Yeah. So there's a gullible man who's leading a donkey along, and there are two clever rogues, is what they're called in my translation. And one of them says, hey, how do you think we could get that donkey? And he says, well, I'll show you. And he slips the halter off the donkey. So presumably the donkey is walking behind the man, and puts it over his own head and says, yeah, here, take the donkey and go and sell it. So they're walking along for a bit, and then he stops, the thief who was in the halter. The simpleton turns around and says, what? He says, it is I, your donkey. You're probably wondering how I turned up here. Well,
funny story.
Some time ago, I got drunk and I upset my mother, and so she cursed me to turn me into a donkey. And so that's when you found me, and I became your donkey. But she's had a change of heart, apparently, and has called down a blessing upon me to turn me back into a man. And obviously, the simpleton can't, go on with a man as his donkey. So the simpleton actually feels bad, and he says, I implore you, brother, not to hold me responsible for what I have done to you in the way of riding you, and so on, and so on. So the guy goes off, the simpleton goes home, and his wife berates him for losing the donkey. And he says, what? There's nothing I can do.
Well, in mine, he explains what's happened.
Yeah.
And she's, she's as clever as he is. She's like, oh my God, what's going to happen to us now?
Right.
We might have been mean to this donkey.
Right.
But,
yes. So she's doing penance for that. Yeah.
But the simpleton, without his donkey, hasn't got much to do, so he sits around the house all day. The
Yeah.
wife basically says, "Look, go get a job.
Yeah.
For starters, get a new donkey." So he goes to the market, and the donkey that had been stolen from him is on sale. And so he just goes up to it and speaks to the donkey and says, "You've been nasty to your mother again." I mean, it's just a joke, but it works really well.
It does. It does.
It's got a, some of these stories are just amusing, but this one's actually got a proper punchline, and
Yes,
I do appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
The next one, okay, I'll give you the full title of the story,
this one,
and then I'll give you my review of that story.
Okay.
So this is tale number 34 out of all the ones we've done in this section. So the Qazi Abu Yusuf with Harun al-Rashid and the Queen Zubaydah.
Yeah.
That's the full title of the story. My review: Bat semen? Question mark.
Yes.
I have no clue what this relates to anything.
So you don't remember what happened in this one? Is that what you're saying?
Harun al-Rashid,
yes,
goes into the master bedroom, and there's a stain on the mattress.
Yep.
Wait a minute, what's this?
Yes.
Gets the Queen in and says, "Look at that. What's that?" And she looks at it and goes, "Well, it's looks like semen." And I said, "Right, I'm gonna, have you killed. I'm gonna divorce you." There's like, well, you don't think this is me?
It's to do with me, yeah.
So they called in an imam, as you do.
Yep.
And Harun al-Rashid said, "Look at this." And the imam looks at it, and he's obviously, he's the Sherlock Holmes of imams, because,
yes.
or the Sherlock Holmes of semen, because he goes, "Oh, wait a minute, that's Patsy."
Yeah.
Pokes a stick up into the rafters.
There was a crack in the ceiling. Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I do not know.
Okay, I mean, apart from anything else, what's made the bat ejaculate?
Well, I mean, he was peeping, right? He had
the. Okay.
I guess
there's hidden depth to this story that I really wasn't picking up on. I was just reading it, going, "What? What?"
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know how Elaine is. Oh yeah, I don't know if you've seen Elaine's pumpkin flower. It's suggestive.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Well, if you can't laugh at bat semen, what can you laugh at? I mean, this is a classic of world literature.
I mean, I think there's bat semen
more seriously.
There's bat semen in The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, isn't there?
I'm sure there is. Yeah,
probably.
It's probably in Dostoevsky if you look hard enough. Yeah, sorry, Pat. You've I'm not sure there's too many great bits in tonight's selection of stories to wander into, but this was certainly the most off the wall one.
There's some good strong competition.
Yeah. The next story is I think the moral is the rich get richer. This is the Caliph al-Hakim and the Merchant.
Yeah.
That didn't seem to have any edification to it at all.
No, not really.
But the next one did.
Yeah. Okay.
King Kisra Anishwaran and the Village Damsel. So this is based on a real king, a Persian king from the 6th century, Khosrow I.
Okay.
So the king goes and visits, he's out hunting. He gets thirsty, stops at a village. The village damsel brings him some flavored water, and this water's lovely. How many sugar beets did you squeeze into it?
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, oh, just one. And he goes, well, if you can make, a drink, he goes away thinking, if they can make a drink this nice with just one sugar beet, I should be taxing these people more.
Yeah.
And then he goes back,
mm-hmm.
and he's thirsty again, goes to the same woman again,
mm-hmm.
but she takes longer getting him the drink.
Mm-hmm.
He takes a drink and says, why did you take so much longer this time? And she says, well, it took 3 sugar beets to get the same amount of sweetness into the water.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he says, well, why is that? He says, she goes, well, because when you tax us, we're everything goes to shit, basically.
Basically, yeah.
I mean, it is, or production is down because, we're not working for ourselves, we're working for you.
Right.
And he takes a lesson from that and lifts the taxes.
Yeah. It's the infamous Laffer curve. Its origin is right here.
in 6th century Persia.
That's right.
Okay. Well, so I mean that was, it was almost an oddity seeing something which had like a direct lesson to take from it that made sense.
Yeah.
Because there are other ones that are telling us what the lesson we should be taking from it, which were terrible lessons to learn.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Yeah.
That's what gets me about it. Was this weird at the time, or are we just looking at a completely different set standards of behavior?
Well, so there's such a strange variety of these things that some of them must have seemed weird at the time, even, and some of them were, okay. Yeah, I have heard that one before, in fact, and I'm tired of it. But some of them kind of come out of left field, and you're like, I guess, it's the endless invention, As you said, the book has everything, and maybe everything twice.
Yeah. And there's a bunch of contradictions as well. I mean, think about all of the things that have happened in the stories, or even in the stories tonight. And then you get the story of the water carrier and the goldsmith's wife.
Yeah.
But the goldsmith's wife she's very pious or devout, whatever the word you want to use.
Yeah.
And basically, even squeezing someone's hand here is seen as an absolute affront. When you compare that with the behavior that's been going on in some of the other stories, which is just sort of brushed under the carpet, that seemed to be a little bit of an overreaction the other way.
Yeah.
I think. But I mean, that was just, again, all of these are really short stories.
Yeah.
Khusrau and Shirin and the fisherman. Again, don't pay attention to your wife.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's explicitly saying so, I think.
Yes.
Also, kings are stupid, which I think is also that's possibly the only theme you can take from these stories. But,
and the king assumes that everyone is as dumb as he is because he sends out a herald to proclaim throughout the kingdom that you shouldn't take the advice of your wife because So there you go.
But I mean, he is really dim in this story, and she actually was making sense. It's like you can't give that. Don't overpay for fish. Possibly should be the lesson you learn from this.
Oh, this is the one with the hermaphrodite fish. Yes, right.
Yes. Again, this is the crafty peasant and the crafty fool putting one over on his social betters, which I do quite like.
Yeah.
The next one is just pure propaganda. Yahya bin Khalid the Barmecide and the poor man. So basically, the Barmecide, very influential family in Baghdad. This is one of like the old members of the family from a couple of generations back, and this story says, "Aren't these people wonderful?"
Yeah, we've had a bunch of those. We had a bunch of those last month, I think.
Yeah.
About how generous the Barmecides were. Yeah.
There's Muhammad Al-Amin and the Slave Girl, which is a lesson in etiquette, how to steal slaves and how to react once your slaves are stolen. Lessons for us all there. The sons of Yahya bin Khalid and Said bin Salim al-Bali, again, back to propaganda. Basically, these guys are really generous.
Yeah.
The woman's trick against her husband, which is pure misogyny.
It is. But again, it involves fish. And
yeah,
you can disappear for a week by hiding a fish in a jar of water. Okay.
Yeah, this is just where they're coming up with these stories. I'm not sure, but there you go. But the next one I did quite like, the devout woman and the two wicked elders.
Yes. And this is one that involves the prophet Daniel.
Yeah.
Who presumably is the same Daniel from the Old Testament.
I figured it must be.
Yes. And Daniel in the Old Testament is also kind of a crafty person who can figure things out a bit. And I don't know if there's kind of a detective element to this story, right?
Yeah. Because this is so the devout woman is devout. These elders try to they're being lewd with her. She's having none of it. They said, right, okay, well, actually, you've got to sort of, be submissive to us, or we're going to tell everyone that you were sleeping with a young man.
Yes.
To which she says, well, look, you can do what you want. God's going to judge us all.
Right, yeah.
But fortunately for her, Daniel is intervenes. And it's the old trick of separate interrogations.
Yes.
Which is, it's quite, that's quite good for 9th century Baghdad. Exactly.
And he reveals a discrepancy between their two testimonies, and she is the devout woman is let off, and so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I did like that one. And then the next one, Jafar the Barmecide and the old.
Oh, this one. Yeah.
This is a fart joke.
Yep.
And that's it. And I'm sure I have heard this joke somewhere else. This is a story, this may be the only one of a few other stories that I've heard before outside of 1001 Nights. I've heard someone tell this joke.
Really? That's fascinating.
If this is the one I'm thinking. Okay. Basically, it's the night he's getting married. They have a big wedding feast. He goes to get up and expends gas. And with the shame, he goes away. And he goes away for 10 years.
Okay.
And they'll all have forgotten about it. I'm coming back now. I'm going to reclaim all of my, heritage and my lands and what have you. And he's sort of sneaking back into the village. And he hears a woman talking to her young son and says, oh, yes, you were conceived on the night that the old Badawi farted. And he's like, oh, my God, they've not forgotten. And goes away for the rest of his days. And that's it. That's the story.
That's not the story, though.
No? It's there are two fart jokes.
There's another.
Oh, no.
This is Harun al-Rashid and Jafar, and they come across an old man who's just walking along the road, and they ask him where he's coming from and where he's going to, and so he's going somewhere to get treatment for his eyesight. So this old man is going to see the eye doctor, and Harun al-Rashid, the commander of the faithful, the caliph, tells Jafar to make fun of him. That's what it says. Harun told Jafar to make fun of him, and though Jafar said, "If I do that, I shall hear something from him that I shall dislike," Harun insisted. Jafar said, "If I prescribe something to help you, how will you reward me?" And the man answered, "Almighty God will give you better than I can." So Jafar tells him to basically make his own medicine out of things that are impossible. It's like
to
put a
distill
bunch
some
of
sunlight and then let
sunlight
it go
and
away in the winds for 3 weeks.
yes,
And...
yes, exactly. Then if you do this for 3 months, you'll be cured, God willing. The old man hears that, and he stretches himself out over the donkey and farted and said, "Take this in return for the medicine you have described. If I use it and God cures me, I shall give you a slave girl whose services to you in your lifetime will end your days. And when you are dead and God has hurried away your soul to hellfire, she will smear your face with her excrement. In her sorrow for you and weeping and wailing over you, she will exclaim, 'Whitebeard, what a fool you were.'" What?
Yeah, I can't believe I got those two mixed up.
Right.
I should make more extensive notes.
And then, yes, and then I'm sorry to read such an extensive passage, but then Harun al-Rashid laughs about it because it's funny, and he gives the old man 3,000 dirhams, and that's the end of that story. So, it's not even really a joke. It's just.
But there is one coming up, which is a joke, which is the one I already said.
Fun of this old man. The old man tells him to basically go to hell.
In mine, he farts and says, "We'll take this as a down payment."
There you go. Yeah.
I don't think he goes into the detail that your translation went into, but
yeah, there you go. That's the quality you can expect from a Penguin classic.
When Harun al-Rashid laughs, he really laughs in the Burton translation. He laughs until he falls over.
Yeah. He fell over laughing and ordered the man to be given 3,000 dirhams.
I quite like the next one. The next one's a bit more serious. Yeah. The Caliph Omar bin al-Khatib and the young Badawi. So, young man is accused of murder and says, "Well, I'll abide by your judgment. I'm innocent, but I'll abide by your judgment." Or it's extenuating circumstances, basically. Who will stand as guarantor for me whilst I go away and sort my affairs out?
Yeah.
And basically selects an old guy in the court who is put on the spot a bit, but says, "Yeah, I will do." So basically, his life is forfeit if this guy doesn't come back.
Yeah.
And that nearly happens. He turns up very, very late. But because he has turned up, basically all is forgiven all round. So this did have a lesson and a nice ending, which is, you don't always get those two together in these stories.
Yeah. That's true.
The next one, the moral of the story is don't screw around with the pyramids. The Caliph Al-Mamun and the pyramids of Egypt.
Yeah.
Then that's it.
Yeah. He spends a great deal of money trying to excavate them and doesn't get anything out of it.
Yeah.
Yep. You go.
I mean, I don't know if that is supposed to be an allegory for something else, or it literally is. No, we tried digging stuff out of the pyramids and couldn't.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah.
There's the thief and the merchant. That was a bit of a nothing story.
Yeah.
Masrur the eunuch and Ibn al-Karibi. That was just a joke again. The devotee prince. This was a bit of a sad tale, but this is again someone who takes their poetry far too seriously.
Yes. Yeah.
There's lots of this sort of everyone, so despairing until they die.
Right.
Starts creeping into these stories.
Yes.
The unwise schoolmaster who fell in love by report. Basically, this is again as a schoolmaster, and they're surprised this schoolmaster's so bright,
Yes.
He must have a flaw. And then
Right.
he goes and visits him, and he's in transports of despair. Why are you so much in despair? Oh, this poor woman has died, my lover. And it turns out it wasn't really, his lover. It's someone he's heard about secondhand from snatches of overheard conversation.
Yes.
And found out that she's died, and
Yeah.
it is hitting really hard. And the bloke goes, yeah, okay. So you are a bit dim in some respects.
Yeah.
There's the Foolish Dominie. That's the next story. I don't know what it's called in yours.
What is that one called? Was that one any good? I don't
It wasn't.
recall.
I put ouch. I can't remember what happens in that one.
Okay.
The Illiterate Who Set Up for a Schoolmaster. That one was quite funny.
Okay.
Again, I put sort of like this. I put this as like street smarts versus book smarts. So this guy says, "Well, how can I make a load of money? I know, I'll open a school. Doesn't matter that I can't read or write." He basically gets all the kids to educate each other.
They teach each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Then there was the King and his virtuous wife. There wasn't really anything there. But on the next story, Abdel
the next one's good.
and the Maghribis, the story of the Rook. We got a mythical creature.
Yes, a giant bird.
A giant bird, and they're really tasty.
Yes, they're delicious.
Because they find this mythical creature. First thing you do, steal its young, fry it.
Yes. Yeah.
There's not a lot to it other than it is describing, a bird which is. I mean that is the Rock, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is supposed to be an absolutely gigantic creature.
Yes.
I quite like that.
I liked it too.
There wasn't a lot to it, but it's just it's something from these stories.
Yeah, exactly. Something you recognize. It's basically, hey guys, imagine if there's like a really big bird. Wouldn't that be wild?
Doesn't Sinbad doesn't Sinbad in the films fight something similar?
Probably.
Yeah, I've got a vague memory. Some sort of Harryhausen creature.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Then there's Adi bin Zayed and the Princess Hind.
Right.
Then that was like a nothing story.
Sure.
In fact, I've got nothing against. I'm just writing the titles down at this point because the next few really weren't all that.
There's not much to them. That's true.
The late Dibil al-Qazi with the Lady and the Muslim bin al-Wahid, Isaac of Mosul and the Merchant.
Yeah, I think there's the one of these. Yeah, is that the one with the sort of love triangle?
Yeah,
where they basically just lie down and die because they're in despair over love, and then
it's like dominoes.
Yeah, and it turns out that there's like a third, like there was a singer who the male part of the relationship heard singing, and it was so sad that he lay down and died, and then his beloved heard that he died, and so she died, and it turned out that the singer was in love with one of the two of them, and it might have been the woman, and when she heard that she had died, she died, so the three of them all just died.
Yeah
it's
all it's a little bit neat, but they all took everything far too seriously as far as I can make out. And then we go from that to the one I was talking about earlier that I got confused. How Abu Hassan broke wind.
I don't think I have that one. Okay, but that was the one you were talking about.
That's the one I was talking about. Yeah.
Okay.
So you can go on to Gutenberg. It's in the Burton one. So it's night 410 or 400 and something.
Okay.
And then there's other ones, the Lovers of Banu Tag, the Mad Lover, again, they're sort of nothing tales. Then I've got the prior who became a Muslim.
Right, and that's kind of interesting.
Because we have a miracle.
Yes.
So this is definitively not magic. This is a miracle. That we're making a distinction between the two.
Yeah.
So a woman converts on her deathbed from Christianity to Islam.
Yep.
But dies.
Yes.
Is buried according to Muslim custom. Christians aren't happy about it. Want to basically disinter her, and they say, "Well, look, if you can lift her, it's almost like a weird inversion of like a witch trial,
Sure,
if you can lift her, she was Christian,
right,
and she's yours. If you can't lift her, it's because
she's
keeping her down,
right, yes,
or until a Muslim goes to lift her, which is what happens.
Yes.
And because of that, all of these monks who were doing this
were trying to all combine to lift her up, and were unable to.
Yes. And they all convert from Christianity to Islam.
Yeah.
Which, just as well.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they probably wouldn't have got into the book.
That's true. There's no story of there was this monastery with a bunch of monks in it.
No.
Doing monk stuff. They wouldn't have put that in.
Well, I mean, that is it, actually. I mean, if in almost every case where we have characters from another religion, their religion is either in opposition to or is the subject of that story.
Right, yeah.
Which you don't get with professions, you get a little bit with people from other countries as well.
Yeah.
Like you say, the thing about the Persians, they've got to think about the
Persians. Yes. Or the schoolmasters who are dim. Then I think we have only one more story.
Yeah.
And I read it last night, and I have no memory of it.
No, again, it's a very nothing story. The Loves of Abu Isa and Kurat al-Ain. Yeah, they didn't really have much. As a finale, it wasn't all that, but it was. I mean, let's be fair. Out of all the months, I think this has been the one that's been a bit of a slog.
A bit, yeah.
There's a lot of stuff to like still, but there was a lot of stuff I was scratching my head at.
Yeah,
or raising an eyebrow, or doing both.
Fortunately, nothing really. None of the stories outstayed their welcome for the most part. There were a couple, but
that's the saving grace. The only really long story is the Ebony Horse, which was really fun.
Yeah, exactly.
And did stick out because of that. But it was a bit of a. Sometimes they were getting a little bit repetitive, and not as entertaining. But it did bring it back towards the end. They became there's some funny stuff in there. But next month, we're gonna shake it up just a little bit.
Yes.
To get it a little bit sort of into the panto Christmas mood.
Yes.
Gonna read Sinbad stories and Aladdin. So these they appear within. They're always grouped in within the 1001 Nights, but they were added in after the event.
Yeah.
So as such, you'll find them in different places, in different translations. I'm not even sure where it turns up in Burton. I may have to go back to my Madras and Mathers.
Yeah, I think in the Burton, it's in the supplemental volumes,
right?
That are after. I know in, actually in the Penguin, the Sinbad stories are in this volume. They're in volume 2, so they might be just in the regular course of the Burton, but Aladdin is in number 3, I think.
Well, this is, I mean, it's the Sinbad stories are the reason I actually had to stop reading the Madras and Mathers and switch
Okay.
to Burton because they turned up where they didn't in yours.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
So I might read Madras and Mathers for the Sinbad and
Yeah.
Burton for the Aladdin to get a little,
Yeah.
get a little bit of a mix, but also just to sort of open it up to other people. It's just like, well, look, these are the marquee names
Yes.
for the Arabian Nights, for the 1001 Nights.
That's
It's
right.
Aladdin and it's Sinbad. So get hold of a copy or download the story, and we'll go through and see
Yeah.
if we got many differences here.
Yeah.
And
Maybe
have a look at,
maybe we'll have some other people join us. Maybe
yeah.
they won't. Hopefully, they won't be as hair-raisingly bizarre and creepy as some some of the ones we've had this month.
Yeah, well, I don't remember it from the films, so
Yeah.
but who's to say they were, anywhere near representative of what's going on here?
Right.
But yes. So just remember, not all heroes have the same bat signals.
That's right. That's it.
And I think I don't know where we go from here, other than we'll have a festive sort of celebration of this with Aladdin and Sinbad, and then we'll get back on the ebony horse come January, and
Sounds good.
crack on with some of these nights because we've got a little bit of catching up to do.
Yes, we do. Maybe we ought to we'll rejigger the schedule and maybe do 200 pages a month or something, so we can.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe scope out what we're actually going to be looking at, because if it turns out that it's 150 tales, if it's like these ones, I may struggle because we are not going to be able to remember what's going on. I was struggling tonight, but as you can tell. But anyway,
well, you did an excellent job, Gavin. Thank you as always for hosting this and for your.
Well, thanks for joining us. Yeah, a pleasure as ever. Yeah. And we will get back to some more familiar faces next month.
Indeed.
Until then, I shall end the stream for tonight.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.